You can have a seat.
Oh,
Ready?
yes.
Good evening and welcome to the March 17, 2021 regular meeting of the Gates County Board of Commissioners. I am Dr. Althea Riddick, the 2021 Chair of the Board. I am joined this evening by Commissioner Jack Owens, Vice Chair, Commissioner Linda Hoffler. Also joining us is Diane Hendricks, the County Manager in interim position, Melissa Lawrence, Clerk to the Board and Executive Assistant to the County Manager, and our IT Coordinator, Warren Curry. We will be led in prayer in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Owens.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come here tonight in your presence, asking you to give us wisdom and discernment. Lord, we ask you to guide our steps and our decisions in leading this county. And Lord, we are blessed to be citizens of this great county, this great state, and this great nation. Lord, we lift up those who are struggling with COVID still, Lord, and we just pray that you would be with them, give them comfort and peace about their situation. Lord, we lift up tonight also our friend and Board of Education board member, Leslie Byram. Lord, we ask you to be with him, Lord. Give him healing, your healing power, Lord, and we pray that you would mend him in short order. We pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call the meeting to order. I need a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3, legal, and 6, personnel.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The live stream will be paused while we're in closed session, and we'll be live again at 6:30.
2 weeks later. I gotta wear my mask. We're going live.
I need a motion to exit closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? You see the agenda? Do we have agenda adjustments?
Madam Chair, if we could move under item number 5B, flip-flop A and B.
Okay, we're going to have the special recognition of retirement of Ann Holly before we do the Dr. Barry Williams Superintendent Budget Presentation. Any other adjustments?
Madam Chair, I move the agenda be accepted as adjusted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Now we have the consent agenda. Are there any adjustments to the consent agenda? Do I need a motion to approve the consent agenda? as
So moved.
presented?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Special recognition of retirement of Miss Ann Holly. Will you come forward, please? Where would you like her to stand, Madam County Manager? Where would you like her to stand?
We have a resolution in celebration of the retirement of Antoinette Holly. Whereas the members of the Gates County Board of Commissioners wish to honor and celebrate Department of Social Services Director Antoinette Holly on her retirement. And whereas Mrs. Holly has a long history of service to Gates County Department of Social Services, she has provided over 26 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Gates County. And whereas, in addition to her services to the Department of Social Services, Mrs. Holly has provided more than 12 years of service to the Gates County Partners for Health, Gates County Housing Committee, and the Gates County Aging Task Force. And whereas she has served her community by assisting with the implementation of the Family Care Center, a Family Resource Center, helping families to strengthen their resiliency. And whereas Mrs. Holly has worked hard to assist with the implementation of the Parents and Children's Training Together program, which help parents develop parenting skills and youth to develop life skills. And whereas, while Mrs. Holly is retiring from her official duties with the Gates County Department of Social Services, we know she will continue to enhance our community. And now therefore be it resolved that the Gates County Board of Commissioners hereby celebrates the retirement of Mrs. Antoinette Holly, Director, Department of Social Services. And be it further resolved that this resolution adopted the 17th day of March, 2021, shall be entered into the minutes of the Gates County Board of Commissioners and a copy presented to Mrs. Holly. And presented to Antoinette Holly in recognition of over 26 years of dedicated service to Gates County, Department of Social Services, July 1, 1994 to March 31, 2021.
Thank you so much.
Gates County will ever be indebted for your services.
Thank you. Can I have your mark?
Okay, let's get you.
I did write a little something. Just a little.
It's not like your usual
Don't get
monthly
started.
something,
I
is
know,
it?
It won't be the DSS
You're not
board
going to
meeting.
sing
Thank
for
you.
us?
Not gonna sing, but I do want to start with this. Well, I find the lyrics to a gospel song so fitting and proper. And it says, "How did I make it all these years? How did I make it this far? Through the valleys and over the hills, I know it had to be God. How did I make it through the storm? How did I make it through the rain? If you want to know just how I got here, it's so easy to explain. It was God's grace. Oh, what a blessing it has been and still is to have the opportunity to serve the citizens of Gates County. I've been fortunate to labor with Gates County DSS staff, some of them are here tonight, who embrace the many policies and procedures provided by the Division of Social Services. There's no way I can forget my family who has supported me, who understood that my position was not always Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. They understood and never made me feel bad about wanting to do what I'm called to do. I still consider myself a missionary serving on a local level. I thank the Gates County DSS Board for their support and for presenting me such a beautiful framed certificate on yesterday. I concur with the English poet John Donne, who stated that no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent. I say that to say this, that collaboration is the key to all that has been accomplished. It has been my good fortune to have served on various committees that have Gates County citizens' best interests. Many agencies were represented that have access to resources that can benefit our local communities. For example, Gates County Cooperative Extension, Gates Partners for Health, Trillium Health Resources, Gates County Public Schools, Economic Improvement Council, Inc., Albemarle Commission, Area Agency on Aging, Gates County Housing Committee, Gates County Emergency Management, Gates County Rescue and Emergency Medical Services, Gates Emergency Ministries, which we know as GEMS, and many others. Tonight, I thank you all, your humble servant.
No, stay right there. Miss Holly, stay right there. We're going to take some pictures with you. Commissioner Owens and Commissioner Jones serve on the DSS board, and they're going to join the rest of the commissioners in taking pictures with you so we can all look back and smile on this day, okay? All right?
Now, I do want to clarify, they were not, your staff was not cheering that you're retiring, right?
I don't know. This is me. I still love 'em.
I don't think so. Just a minute. Right where you are, come around. John, Jack, John, come on. Just gather together. They want to stand over here. Before I bring up Dr. Barry Williams and the superintendent and his budget presentation with his staff, I would like to also announce that after that recognition or that presentation, we'll have to take a couple of minutes break. If anyone's here for citizen comments, you can sign the roster up there on that white table right in front of the bench there. You must sign in with your name and your precinct if you're planning on participating in citizen comments. At this time, I want to recognize Dr. Barry Williams, Superintendent of Gates County School System.
Dr. Williams, turn on.
Sir?
Maybe the mic, you may want to move that mic a little bit.
Turn it so that you.
So they,
Like it? Can we hear? Can we talk? Can we hear me?
You can hear.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. Congratulations, Ms. Holly, too, as well. Really appreciate your service. I know she left, but just wanted to say thank you and congratulations. Tonight, we are presenting the Gates County School budget for the 21-22 school year. Our budget has been established to support the vision, the mission, and the goals of our school district, which are focused on providing the best for our students. To begin, there's just a few projects that I would like to see get implemented for the benefit of the students of Gates County and for the citizens of Gates County. Internet access for all. Next one. No, that's not, yeah, there you go, internet access. Okay, you already know Michael Burns. Michael Burns, CEO, Executive Director of Community College Partners Program. I've been working with him and also with Dr. Riddick. I think this is really important. And of course, you know they plan to expand partnerships to address broadband needs in communities like Gates County and to develop ways to address health, economic development, and other quality issues in appropriately targeted communities. Currently, they have 33 projects in 6 states to include broadband plans for poor communities. Next slide, please. An athletic track. I strongly believe that an athletic track is needed for Gates County. During my tenure, we've had several athletes who have competed at the state level in track and field. These athletes have to travel to Virginia, up in Norfolk, to practice or practice in the parking lot. A track would also benefit the citizens of Gates County, providing a safe place to walk and run for exercise and health benefits. We would also be able to host track events, field events for our middle and high school students, and also Special Olympics. Now, the good thing about that is I'm not asking you funding for a track. I had the doors shut on me on one avenue, but as you well know, I have a plan B, and I think that may come to fruition, and so we're going to have to make some adjustments and look at some maintenance facilities at the high school, and hopefully that can come to fruition. NJROTC, or NNDCC. It has been a goal of Gates County Schools to have a junior reserve officer training corps in our school system. There is a long waiting list for NJROTC, and because of this, the military has developed the NNDCC, which is the Navy National Defense Cadet Corps, as a stepping stone to NJROTC program. The program is a mirror image of NJROTC without the shared funding. Implementing NNDCC program would qualify Gates County schools to skip to the top of the list for an NJROTC program. I got this letter in the mail just the other day, and it says, "I am pleased to inform you that the Secretary of the Navy approved the request to establish a Navy National Defense Cadet Corps unit at Gates County High School." So that is one request that I most definitely will need your help on. To give you a little bit of how hard I'm working on this, it costs $350 for a cadet's uniform. There is cost for a drill rifle. There's cost for military gear. I've got all that covered because there was a NNDCC that dissolved in South Carolina. I'll get all that stuff free. So that's just one area that I think that is most important for the citizens, for the students, in Gates County. Personnel is a significant portion of our budget. As we are the largest employer in Gates County, I would like to request a 5% salary increase for all classified staff. Our classified staff work extremely hard and are dedicated to providing the services needed for our students and staff. They have worked on-site throughout the pandemic, and I believe a salary increase is well-deserved. Next slide, please. Ms. Jordan. Ms. Jordan is going to talk a little bit about personnel.
Good evening. I have just a couple slides here on behalf of our district principals and central office staff of our personnel needs and requests for the upcoming school year. The first slide here just represents our current enrollment for the 2020-21 school year at each of our elementary schools, and this does include our students that are now participating virtually and face-to-face on our campuses. The next slide, that's our projected enrollment for the 21-22 school year. Again, that will represent our students that are participating virtually and face-to-face. We do expect our enrollment to increase just a little. This year, we had a little decreased enrollment due to COVID and our participation virtually for the first semester, and some of our students have participated in other ways, but we expect our students to come back and be a part of Gates County Schools, so that would represent some of the changes or increases that we have across the grade levels in our elementary and middle and high school for the 2021 school year. Our projected vacancies, this is based on resignations, retirements, for any reason that we have people who are leaving or that may be leaving or have indicated that they are planning to leave at the end of the 2021 school year. Right now at Buckland, we're projected to have a vacancy for an EC teacher. At Gatesville, a kindergarten teacher. At T.S. Cooper, a one-to-one teacher assistant. Central, English teacher, bus driver. Gates County High School, assistant principal, Spanish, and central office administrative assistant. So they're the vacancies that we are projecting to have for the upcoming school year. The next slide, that's our personnel request, and this is the slide that our principals had most input in as far as what will it take or what will they be requesting to support the needs of the students on their campuses for the upcoming school year. This does include many vacancies that we have. This does not include the vacancies that we have. This is in addition to any vacancies that we may have. For Buckland, third grade teacher and a fifth grade teacher. That's just based on our class size and enrollment at those grade levels and looking at what the state class averages are and what the needs are at the fifth grade level, because they do test in 3 different areas. T.S. Cooper, learning support assistant, that was represented in the projected vacancies for next year, but that's a position that they are requesting to continue to be supported for next year. Gatesville, teacher assistant for kindergarten and first grade. Central Middle School, ELA teacher, social studies teacher, science, and CTE. The ELA teacher, that would reflect a retirement for the current school year. In Gates County High School, health and PE teacher, our NND CC instructor, Spanish teacher, EC teacher, and social studies teacher. And right now, the Spanish teacher, that would reflect the retirement that we had this school year, mid-year, for the current school year. Additional requests, this supports some of the requests from the district level that will help to support the initiatives that we have in the schools. Instructional support coach at Gates County High School, and instructional support coach and district behavior support coach. And we have a district behavior support coach, but this will be funded to support other initiatives for this person to support K-12 and not just at our elementary schools. And then testing and accountability, just looking at supporting that program as much as we can, because of course we know that they support all 5 schools. The next couple slides is just an overview of our Exceptional Children's Program. This is an area that's near and dear to my heart. Personnel is, but EC, I tell you, it touches my heart. But this is just to give an explanation or an overview of the students that we do serve in our Exceptional Children's Program and the needs that we have at each school. Funding, well, not funding, but our staffing for EC is a little different because it's not based on a ratio of number of students to teacher. It's based on the needs that we have in each classroom or the needs that we have at each school. So right now, these are our areas of eligibility of students that we do serve, and then it's broken down for students at each school. Again, you can't use these numbers to say, okay, we have 50 students at Buckland, so we need 2 teachers, because it's just based on the exceptionality of the students that are served in each classroom. But we do right now have 277, or serve 277 eligible students. On the next slide, and last slide for me, the EC personnel assignments, this just shows our breakdown right now of where we have exceptional children staff placed at each school to support the needs at each school. We have EC teachers, we have classroom assistants, and we have one-to-one support personnel that support students with the most severe and profound needs throughout our district. And these needs, positions are identified, again, based on our enrollment and the needs of the individual children. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hope you all are doing well. The next few slides, a couple of slides will be going over school safety and security. You can go to the next. Okay, Dr. Williams, do you want to talk about it? Okay. The safety supplies and resources, that is to, to continue our effort with the COVID prevention. The cameras update of cameras at Central Middle School. As you all are well aware, we built the new wing or the new building, not a wing, the whole building, but the old wing still has the old analog cameras, and they're significantly got some age on them. And so what we would like to do there is update those cameras, to the newer digital cameras like we have in the new building. The next topic there, update identikits. I'm sorry, go back. Sorry. Can you go back one? Thanks. Sorry about that. The next bullet on here, the update identikid system, these are the check-in systems at the schools where parents, staff, subs check in. And they're about 10 years old now. Now, we've updated some of the computers as we needed to, but this would be actual, the software and the system to keep up with some of the modern, some of the newer technologies. And there's one at each school. Of course, continued safety upgrades at each school, and then school resource officer support. Dr. Williams, do you want to talk about any of that? Okay, okay. Next slide, please. Thank you. And next, we'll segue into technology. Okay, the first few cells up here for each school deal with the requests that came from the school, like the charging stations for Buckland, the iPad cases, smart boards. We have iPads cases at T.S. Cooper, smart boards at Gatesville, and document cameras at the high school. These are some things that the schools had requested, and of course the smart boards are to replace some of the older ones. Some of them have been in there, anywhere from 12 to 13 years, and they've got some age on them, so that's to start replacing some of the older ones that are, as they are, dying out on us. Some of the commonalities here, if you notice, you see the Bogan system upgrade costs. This is the intercom and bell system in the schools. Gatesville, we have already upgraded Gatesville. We did that a while back when we had an issue, but we need to upgrade the other three. Right now, it's an old analog system where you program by pushing the phone, and of course the newer systems are, computer controlled. They're still working and they're working fine, but we would like to get it upgraded, to the newer systems. And then you also notice you see the computer lab at each school. That is the desktop labs at each school. They need to be upgraded. We may not be able to do all at one time, but we got to start getting upgraded. They're getting some age on them. And then finally, the teacher laptop upgrades. We were able to upgrade about 80 this year, and this is just kind of spread out to try to get the other ones upgraded. As you all probably know, we're a Mac district, so those computers, some of them, even mine's 12 years old, still using it, don't have any problems with it. So, but some of the teacher laptops are getting to that age, and we just need to start, continue replacing some of those. So that's just some upgrades for for that. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
They had the hard part, I have the easy part. I'm just going to tie it all together with some numbers. You'll go one more, Warren, please. You should have received the handout that really has the numbers. The slides are just kind of a general overview. The handout has the information that I know you all are looking for that ties these numbers to what my colleagues have presented. And that information, the bulk of the local fund is on page 3. So it has the summary at the top of that page, and it goes through each of the things that have been discussed and has those numbers as well. The current year funding, our appropriation for this year was $2.808 million, and the fines and forfeitures were estimated to be at about $30,000. We don't see any change, significant change in that. To fund all of the additional requests and to be able to fund our budget without going into fund balance would require an additional $1.392410. And like I said, the breakout of those numbers is on that page 3. The community center budget is also in that packet, and I apologize for not having numbers on this packet. I try not to do that. But I believe it's the second to the last page for the community center fund number 7. The current year funding was $231,575. The additional request here is to bring us up to not have to go into fund balance and to cover the increased benefits costs that will be addressed in a future slide, and also to offset the funding reduction from the current year to bring us back to the level that we were last year. And again, more detailed information is in the handout that you received. The benefits, the current retirement rate is 21.68% for us. We project that to be at about 23% next year. We, of course, are still waiting for the state to give us those numbers. The health insurance is currently $6,326 per year, and we are projecting that to be at about $6,500 per year per employee next year. We have not received any information about bonuses, raises, or any other salary increases for certified employees, so that none of those numbers are included in these projections. And the capital outlay portion, I believe Mr. Green is going to cover. Thank you very much. If you have questions, I know there's a lot of information in the books. Please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, good to see you. How are you? Appreciate the opportunity to come speak this afternoon to something that's very near to our concern of mine at this point. I want to talk a little bit about the roof at Gatesville Elementary School. A new portion of Gatesville Elementary School was completed in 1998. This was the first school in Gates County to have a sloped roofing system. As you all know, many of the schools, when you look across, we have a traditional built-up rock roof. It's very much of a flat type roof. That was the first system that we had that actually had a pitched roof for the water to run off of. At the time, the decision was made to install a Loadmaster engineered roof deck system. The roof system consists of a ribbed metal deck, thermal insulation board, and mineral board. The mineral board is covered with a layer of felt and 20-year 3-tab shingles. So just to give you all some idea of how this roof is constructed. Of course, as I mentioned, it's on a pitch. But this being the underside, if you were to look up at the roof, what you see is this metal ribbon. This is insulation board, typically called iso board. What's here is, many times we see plywood on homes and shingles nailed directly to the plywood or to the tar paper and into the plywood. This style system has actually got almost a sheetrock type material that is connected with these long screws as you see going through. That's how that roof is constructed before any shingles or the paper goes on top of that. Then the shingle goes on with this special nail. As you see, it's a split type nail. It's much different than a standard roofing nail. So as that goes in, it spreads out in that material, that sheetrock material. Well, when you get a leak, you all probably have seen sheetrock in your home and have pieces left over, in different projects around your home over the years, you know what happens to it when it gets wet. So this mineral board here, as water gets to it, of course, it does get damaged from leaks. Currently, these shingles are showing significant wear due to three major hurricanes, Isabel, Irene, and Matthew, as well as age. The building will be 23 years old in August of this year. The shingles were categorized as a critical need in the 2015 School Facilities Needs Survey. Back when Mr. Harrell was the maintenance director for the schools, he spent a lot of time, he actually got this sample himself. That's how long we've had concerns about this roof. This just hadn't come up in the last year or so. Kim Lawson, structural engineer and section chief of the North Carolina Department of Public Construction, Plant Operations Section, inspected the roof in 2016. He completed a report recommending that the shingles be replaced as soon as possible to prevent further damage of the structural components, which would significantly increase the cost. In November of 2020, I requested an estimate from Curtis Roofing for the replacement of the shingles on Gatesville Elementary School. This company recently installed the roofing on the new portion of Central Middle School, as well as the roof membrane replacement for the 7th grade renovation. The estimate provides a price for comparable shingles, the replacement of a layer of mineral board by an authorized Loadmaster dealer, and alternate bids for architectural shingles. The estimate for a comparable 25-year 3-tab shingle is $458,000. Now, keep in mind, that's exactly what we've got there. That's a 3-tab shingle, and here we are at 23 years with a 20-year shingle. That cost is to replace the mineral. There's basically 3 scopes of work to that. An engineer from Loadmaster has to approve anything that's done with that roof, because that roof was designed by them to support the structure of the building. The other scope of work is for an authorized Loadmaster dealer to replace a layer of this mineral board, plus the cost to put the shingles back by a contractor. So there's 3 scopes of work there in this price.
Mr. Green, can you speak into the microphone?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. But as I mentioned, there's 3 different scopes to this project. It says this is a high side estimate. There would have to be a request for proposal and formal bid process. There would also need to be 10% of the total project set aside for unforeseen structural component damage. What I'm seeing here, what I have had recommended from the manufacturer's representative for Loadmaster, is us look at a 40-year architectural shingle, something that we're not standing back here in 20-some years discussing again. The cost for metal, I also looked at that as well. Currently, metal is very expensive. It's running about $8 to $12 more per square foot. When you look at 46,000 square feet of roof space there, that's a pretty considerable cost. What I'm recommending and what I have talked to Dr. Williams about, excuse me, is I would love to be able for the schools to be able to carry $75,000 worth of this past year's capital outlay budget over and allocate it towards this project. Take $75,000 from next year's capital outlay, or what we usually would get possibly, plus some money we have in fund balance, capital outlay money that's in fund balance, and put $200,000 towards this project. What would be needed, though, would be an additional $385,000. That would consist of architectural shingles, which are, in addition to the cost of estimate, I didn't give you that estimate for the 3-year architectural shingle, or the 40-year architectural shingle, but that cost, I've said $458,700 for what's there, 20-year 3-tab. For a 40-year architectural, the cost is $531,600. And if you add 10% to that for contingency, that comes up to $584,760. So on top of our normal capital outlay budget, we need an additional $384,000 basically $385,000 to move this project forward. Keep in mind, we also did about 150 repairs to this roof over the past year. Now, what typically I say is a repair, it's a roof pop through the shingle, which can result in a lot of water into the space. When that leaks, every time it leaks, there's additional damage done to this material. The longer we wait on this, the more of this structure is going to have to be replaced, and that cost is going to go up each year that we wait. Any questions? I
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mr. Green. I do want to make one comment, that Mr. Green, he really manages his money very well, and he just doesn't spend stuff to spend it out. So he saves money in a capital outlay pot for big projects like this right here. You can walk in Gatesville Elementary School, and you can see a trash can, you can see a leak coming out of the library. Well, that doesn't mean, as you could see from his piece of roof construction, that doesn't start in the library. It could be somewhere else down the hall, and it runs through those tracks. You see a little spot, and it comes out and it starts leaking. So I like to commend Mr. Green on everything that he's done. On this last slide right here, and this is just as a reminder, our funding comes from the state, federal, and local funds. And while we realize that funding's limited, we also remember that our budget provides for the education of our students, which benefits not only our students, but also the county as well. And as the largest employer of the Gates County Gates County, we must continually recognize that what is provided to our school district directly benefits all aspects of the county. One last thing I do want to say, and I want to be just as transparent as possible. We have come into something called ESSER II funds. And ESSER II funds are the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Release Fund that was authorized by Section 313 of the Coronavirus Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2021, which is intended to assist public school units during and after the coronavirus pandemic. We're currently analyzing the chart of accounts code to determine how our funds can be spent, and our ESSER for Gates County schools is an allotment as $1,168,791. Now, I have a book right here, and me and my administrative team will be looking at what the uniform chart of accounts code will allow us to spend. There's some things that we can't spend it on, like my NNDCC program, that we need to start, but I think that's very important. And I just wanted to let you know this, because this is a public document. It's out there on DPI's webpage and any other places that you may want to seek and find. So that's that piece. And the last thing I wanted to mention about this slide right here is that young man right there. I believe he was in the 3rd grade, and I would go shoot basketball with him every time I'd go visit Gatesville Elementary School. And this shows you how on top of things that kids are and how they listen and how we as adults don't think that they listen. And he asked me, he said, "Hey, Dr. Williams, when you get an opportunity and we build that new school, can I come and shoot basketball with you at Central Middle School?" And I said, "Well, first you got to get to the 6th grade, young man." But that young man right there was the first student to shoot a basketball in the goal at the new Central Middle School. And just wanted to let you know that that's what it's about. That's what makes you smile, and that's what Gates County Schools is looking at. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I would like to say that that's a very comprehensive presentation, and I encourage you to work with our county manager, Ms. Diane Hendricks. We are preparing the county's budget, and I think we have the next budget meeting in May. So we have some time, but I know you got to work through your chart of accounts with your finance team and our finance team. So I encourage your finance team to work with our finance team and the county manager to call that down, so we'll know exactly what you're requesting. And we will do the best we can to make sure we support the needs of the Gates County school system. Fine school system. All of your staff is doing a very good job. I want to say that publicly so everybody knows. And we appreciate your grant writing and your due diligence as far as look for every quarter that may be rolled up in a corner. So I thank you for that. And you also, and let me say this about this young man, we attended a strategic planning meeting with the College of the Albemarle, and he has his own definition for STEM. His is strategies that engage minds. I wrote that down. and I'm going to use that. Strategies that engage minds. So you have a fine superintendent. I thought I saw the chair of the board come in, and I just want to commend you for your work that you're carrying on in the school system and your school board.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the Board of Commissioners? Leslie Byron, we had a prayer for him this afternoon. I hope he's doing well.
From reports that I have heard that he's came through Operation One.
Okay,
Very good.
okay. And please share our prayers with him as you speak with him. We don't have a chance to do it ourselves, that the Board of Commissioners have in our thoughts and prayers. Okay? We're going to take a 3-minute break for everybody to gather themselves. The restrooms are downstairs. And when we come back, we will begin our citizen comments, if there are any, so we can gather those to the county manager or whoever going to read those. And we'll take a 3-minute recess.
I had to talk in this microphone. I just.
We're gonna get started. The next item on the agenda is citizen comments. You have 5 minutes. You can watch the screen. I think we're gonna have the clock up so that you'll know when your time is up. We ask that you address the board. And if it's anyone else that needs to sign the sign-in sheet, I have it up here. You can see the clerk, Miss Melissa Lawrence. First is Donald, is it Handy? Okay. 49 Orchard Street. Sunbury.
All right. I know you all have a lot of important things going on, and this is not, you'll laugh when I talk about what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you've heard it before. I got a water bill, February 2nd. Put it in the mail, February 3rd. Came out of my bank on February 23rd. Got a $1.80 late fee on my next bill. Called in. The only way that could be guaranteed that it would be paid is to pay it online. Went online. They gave me a $2.95 convenience fee to pay it online. I'm only talking about $1.80, but to have a system where you get a mail, you have an option to pay by mail. It was impossible for me to pay it any faster. I mean, there's something wrong with the system here. On the bill, it says that the county's not responsible for the bill arriving late. And I get that. But how am I responsible for my check arriving to you all late? And to have it due on the 16th and the penalty happening right then, I could see it when it was going to Gatesville. Now it's going to Philadelphia, PA. Why is this, I know you all have a lot of other things to do, but it's something that's pretty, I would think, simple that could be fixed and probably should be fixed, to have a system in place that it's impossible to pay it as you laid out as an option. The first payment option is make check payable too. I would like to see you all either take away the pay by mail option if you don't want to change the due dates or how any of that's done. I mean, the water department followed their policies. They could have cut my water off for a week, but they didn't do it, thankfully. Most any other bill, you get a late fee when you're 30 days overdue, not 1 minute past midnight that day. You know, I don't know what the solution is or solutions are. Maybe we need to change our mailing address to here so it gets here. I don't know, but for me, it's $1.80. I know other people it's happened to. And, you know, if you spread this out hundreds of times around the county, I doubt they would have enough locks to put on everybody's water meter the next day on the 17th. And, you know, it's an old cliche, the check's in the mail, but the check's in the mail. What am I supposed to do? So I paid it this time online for the $2.95 convenient fee on top of my $1.80 late charge. And I'm not even really looking for that back, to be honest, because I follow that's what the policy is. But I would like to see a change of policy so that it's possible to pay your bill on time by the methods that you all will collect the money. But that's what I got for y'all. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
David Ashbell.
Good evening. What am I supposed to do up here now? David Asbell, I live in Sunbury, right? Okay. And I've seen other people do this, and I'm gonna do it. And as I'm doing it, I want to express my appreciation to this Albemarle Regional Health Agency and for whoever had parts in getting Gates County vaccinated as much as they have so far. I've heard some very good things about how many have been vaccinated. And if there's anybody here tonight, I certainly appreciate it. I got my 2 shots, and I don't like them, but if it helps, that's all great. So I would like to express my appreciation for that. Now, and I'm here for the water department too, because I was here last month, and the same things were brought up, and I don't know what came of it. I haven't heard anything about what y'all decided, you 5 people decided. Does anybody mind sharing with me what y'all decided? Don't everybody speak at once.
I will if you want. Okay.
And it's the same.
Commissioner Owens is going to speak for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we
good.
don't, just for the audience, citizens' comments is an opportunity for us to hear the concerns of the citizens, the praise of the citizens, so we thank you for that comment. It's not truly a debate, period, back and forth. That debate time comes when an individual is on the agenda. And the only reason I'm saying that, David, is so that for the future, people will know, why don't they respond, when we ask a question? Your citizens bring something to us, we digest it, and then it gets on the agenda maybe at the next meeting or the other one. But to answer the question, because it is a big concern countywide, the main problem, well, let me say this first. I've got this document here that is addressing the customer service water billing process system and all together. We put this together. It started out with 62 questions that we ask of our customer service department and the water department that we're going to present to the county probably on this screen. And probably we'll do that in April, most likely. Started out with 62 questions. We've delivered it to the county manager. Our staff has looked at it, and they've already responded to us. Ms. Hoffler and I are going to take those questions and see if we want more dialogue, if we want more in-depth answers to those questions before they're presented to the public. We ended up with, out of those 62 questions, we ended up with 53 questions. So we ask a lot of questions of the customer service and the water department. But I do want to say to make this not a debate or anything, is that the real issue, the real big issue, and I'm going to say 94% of the problem, is the U.S. Postal Service. I don't know if people are seeing on Facebook or anything like that, but I've been told that, I can't confirm this, but that there are truck trailer loads of mail up in the north sector of the nation that are sitting in a parking lot, and they don't know when they're going to be opened and distributed to the people because they are grossly behind in delivering those mail. Some of them are packages, and this goes way back. I want to tell you that there's a person sitting here in the room that told us commissioners were having a meeting discussing this, and they said they got a Christmas card about a month late. Okay, and I will tell you this. On my phone, I have a picture of me mailing my water bill. I've never mailed it to Pennsylvania, but I have a picture of me mailing my water bill in Gatesville on February the 2nd to Philadelphia. And my wife said that the check cleared on March the 9th. I have a second water bill, separate envelope, separate stub. I took it to Ewer and mailed it the same day, and it check cleared on the 16th. So there's a 7-day discrepancy in the same person mailing 2 different envelopes, one in Ewer and one in Gatesville. So, and I have those pictures of me. I have things written on the back of the envelope that I took pictures of too, time, date, all that stuff. Just to say, to be able, I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but I checked on the outcome today. And just yesterday, the second one got posted. And I did that so I would have a clear example of it wasn't paid over here. It wasn't paid online. It was put in the post office, which gives credence to what I'm saying about that's 94%. You can call it 98% if you want to, but that is part of the problem. So I thank you for your patience. Ms. Hoffler and I, we think that we'll have this ready in April. We're gonna have the questions on this screen with the responses from our staff. And these are questions that we developed, plus questions that you, the citizens, have asked us. So we hope you'll be patient with us. And, it'll probably end up on our website. But if you want to see it here, hopefully, like I said, in April, we'd like for everybody to come.
Okay. No,
Thank
I
you.
wasn't here to debate, but I'm just,
Yeah. Well, we don't,
I mean,
because it's so county widespread, we
sure.
choose to do it
Yeah.
different.
And I appreciate the explanation. I mean, I didn't come to debate, but I mean, a month, I would have thought something would have been,
Well, the title that
Something could have been done.
title that the chairman gave it was a comprehensive review. And we're being very comprehensive about
From
it.
from the top to the bottom.
Top to the bottom, from the time the meter's read to the time your payment's posted. We're
Okay.
covering that with those 53 questions.
okay. All right, well, thank you. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Thank
I'm
you.
impatient, just like, I'm sure most of everybody out
Thank
here
you.
is impatient.
Yeah.
And they wanted an answer, 3 weeks ago. But anyway, appreciate your time.
Okay. Mr. Handy, we hope that might have addressed some of your questions too.
Thank you, Mr. Aspel, and thank you, Commissioner Owens. Next, we have Timothy Williams.
Good evening. As you know, last time you saw me, we were talking about the false pen. Well, there's some issues going on that I would like to address with you that me and my neighbors have came across, and we want to see, could you answer them for us? We've been good neighbors. We understand that the law is the law. But our neighbor, the fox pen owner, has not been a good neighbor. The continuance of the dog barking in our neighborhood, which we have called the sheriff office, because as you know, the commissioners have written up a nuisance law for noise ordinance. The one that applies to us is 93.41, Section D. And it reads as thus: the keeping of animals which, by causing frequent or long continuous noise, shall disturb or discomfort and repose on any person. That's the violation, and we've been violated. I have called January the 17th. No violation has been given. I called again on January the 18th. The dogs are so loud that we can't even talk on the phone. No violations haven't been given. I called again on February the 15th. No violations have been given. Called the sheriff's office. I called again on March the 7th, which Officer Lassiter told me that the sheriff's office says it's a civil matter, that I have to go down and file a civil suit. Well, as y'all know from the last time y'all talked to me, you know I checked into that. I talked to the district attorney of Elizabeth City, and I talked to a private attorney. That is not a civil matter because Gates County has a noise ordinance. When there's a civil matter, that means we have to be compensated. We can't be compensated for a dog barking. So my question to you is, the noise ordinance that you put in place, and you said that the sheriff office is supposed to enforce it, is not being enforced in our neighborhood. If you count the many times I've called, my other neighbors have called about these dogs barking and disturbing us, and nothing hasn't been done, like you told us the last time. The law is the law. So is he being biased, or he's going to apply the law? Thank you.
Thank you. County Manager, do we have any more citizen comments that you've received? Okay. Administrative reports?
Administrative reports, we will begin with the county manager's report. Activities for the month of February. Discussion with the county planner and the sheriff regarding a code enforcement issue. Discussion with inspections department regarding a business that was closed upon the owner's request. Participated in NCACC's managers' call Zoom meetings with the main topic of discussion being the state's vaccine update. Completed the final reporting process for the Opus Healthcare Foundation grant. Researched customer service financial records to assist the finance officer with reports. Gathered data to assist the finance officer in implementing the COVID impact report from July 19 to December of 2020. Met with Christy Barham and reviewed and critiqued the employee evaluation form and instructions before disseminating to staff. Assessed the 8 cracked storm windows at the historic courthouse. James Andrus with Andrus Corporation, who was involved with the courthouse renovation, visited the site and gave recommendations for the storm window replacements. Diane, can you adjust your microphone, please? Okay. Discussions with several department directors regarding their budget and joint meeting with the Board of Commissioners. Keeping abreast of COVID activity with vaccination clinics, staff volunteers, and COVID incidences with staff. And I would like to give an update on the window replacements. We've had a company to already come in and measure and begin the process of replacements of the storm windows.
Are they preparing a bid?
Yes.
Any other questions for the county manager? Next, we have the tax report. Mr. Hill.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll be short tonight, promise. You have your tax collector's report for the month of February in front of you. Collections were steady for this time of year. We collected just right at $203,000 for the month of February, which puts us right in the same place as we were last year at this time, right at about a 93.5% tax collection rate, which is good. The list of delinquent taxpayers for the year 2020 has gone to the Gates County Index, so it should be in there this week. So we're looking forward to reaction from that. Any other questions before I get to the Board of Equalization and Review talk?
You don't have an update on the Sunbury thing yet, do you?
They're working on it. I called for you this morning.
And I told him I would call him tomorrow and give him an update.
Yeah,
I said, Chris is gonna send us an email as soon as he knows, but I'm gonna remind him just because I do every month.
I sent you that email that next morning after the last meeting, and I sent an email this afternoon, but I haven't had a chance to hear back yet.
I know that we had stopped sending delinquent taxes to Zacchaeus because of COVID and that situation. I see where counties are picking up doing that again. Do you have any plans?
Yes, ma'am. We discussed it last month about resuming those forced collections, and I believe it is in May that we send those to Zacchaeus. And so we give them about 2 months after that letter goes out. We send the letter in February, and then we put it in paper in March, and then May, we start sending those new accounts, those delinquent accounts to Zacchaeus. That will start in May.
Okay, you can proceed.
As you all know, this time of year is the time where we have the Board of Equalization and Review, which, I'm the clerk and you guys are the board, of course. We have to advertise that 3 weeks prior to the convening of the meeting. So I'd like to talk to you about dates for when you would like to start and end that process. Last year, just to give you an update, last year, we convened on April 27th and we adjourned on May the 13th.
Haven't we traditionally done it right before a meeting?
Talking to you, Mike.
Haven't we traditionally done it when we would open right before a meeting and begin the time, and then, so it's not an additional meeting for us?
Yes, ma'am. And the last year at this time, we were doing everything virtual, so we just kind of had it as a separate, a separate meeting, and we had nobody that had an appeal, so it kind of opened and closed on its own. As long as it's done before June the 1st.
Madam County Manager, our next meeting is April the 21st. It is? The clerk says it's April 21st. Is that agreeable to the Board of Commissioners?
It is April 21st.
To just meet
Yes.
before that meeting? So we don't have to have an extra meeting?
4 o'clock?
That'll work. Okay, I'll have that advertised.
Would it make sense to do it at 6:30? Because of what Chris said about previous years?
We probably will not have anyone because it's not a reevaluation year.
Right, that's correct.
So I don't know if we need to meet at 4 o'clock, and our regular meeting is at 6:30. Of course, we have closed session at 5:30.
We do have closed session at 5:30.
Now, what we did last year is because of the COVID, I advertised it in the paper, and if anybody had have called, I would have set up a time for
Comments.
for us and them to come in and us discuss it, virtually or over the phone or what have you. And then we could make our decision in that 2-week period.
Spot on.
Madam Chair, I'll recommend that date, April 21st at 5 o'clock.
April 21st at 5 o'clock?
It's good.
Okay. If we have any changes, we'll let you know.
Okay?
County Manager, April 21st, 5 o'clock.
Got it noted.
And then we can close it out in May at our next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, you'll follow the same procedures you did last year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay?
Any other questions for me?
Very well.
All right, thank you. Have a
Thank
good night.
you. Finance report.
Good evening. You guys should have received your hard copies of the audit and the single finding, the two notebooks. Okay. So just a quick audit update. We have completed both sections of the audit. Both sections were turned in on time this year. Our audit, I think it's just Tim Lyons, who was the head of the audit team. He will be talking about our audit, is that at the next, at our next commissioners meeting. So we did have one finding this year. We had 3 findings last year, 2 were resolved, and the one finding that we had for this year was for capital assets, which has already been taken care of, but because it was during the audit, they had to report on the findings, so that has already been resolved as well. Did you guys have any questions about the audit part?
No, we appreciate you advising us that early on in your email, so.
For the sales tax revenue, when I received our payment last month, which would have been for the month of December, so far that has been the highest amount that we've received this fiscal year, which makes sense along with shopping around the holidays and whatnot. Along with that, there was a report in there from the NC, regarding the NC General Fund Revenue Consensus Report. And they are projecting, now this is statewide, so keep that in mind, that for fiscal year '22, they are projecting that sales tax collections will increase by 3.1%, so that's good. And then in '23, by 3.8%. This would be the same group when when the pandemic first started, very conservative, looking at the decreases across the state with the state tax collection. So that's good to see that they are projecting increases in the future. So please keep that in mind as we're moving forward with our next year's budget. For fiscal year '21, based off of this last revenue collection that we received, I'm projecting that we will receive over $534,000 in sales tax collections over what we budgeted. Now, remember, we were very, very conservative because we were expecting statewide decreases, and we didn't want to budget for revenue that would not come into fruition. As I talked about during our budget presentation, all of that does not just go into the general fund that can be used for anything. There are restricted, some of it is restricted that goes to the school for capital outlay. Some we have earmarked to help pay off the debt for the Central Middle School project, and then there's a portion that can be spent in the general fund however we see fit. Then for the COVID recovery funds, relief funds, we've almost finalized that. We're just waiting for 2 more items to come in, and then we can close that out. This is for the original package, not the new money that they have talked about. We were able to transfer back into the general fund over $125,000 to help reimburse for salaries and benefits for dedicated employees. So with those 2 pots of money that I was just talking about, for unrestricted, I'm projecting that we will have $568,000 over what we budgeted for this year. Now, before everyone gets excited, you have to remember when we balanced the budget for this year, we transferred pretty close to $337,000 from other funds. So a part of that overage is if we could have budgeted in what I would call a normal year where we did not have the pandemic to consider, we would not have this great amount of excess in funds. My recommendation for this year is to look at using this excess amount of funds towards, we do have a very big balloon payment in fiscal year '23 to pay off DSS. This is the loan that we refinanced, and with the intent that we would pay it off early. I'm recommending before we go into fiscal year '22, and that we set aside these funds, a good portion of these funds, towards that payment, and we don't have to worry about trying to budget that into '22 and '23. And also to cover the funds that we use fund balance appropriated for at that time. That was a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there, on that balloon payment is due 2023?
Correct. I can't remember if that one, I believe that one is due, it's either due in March or September because currently we have 3 loan payments. One is for the Central Middle School project. We'll be paying for that for a while. We have what we call the school facilities. There was the gym and some various other projects. That will be paid off in fiscal year '22. So that will be freed up. And then in fiscal year '23, as long as we stick to what our plan was, we'll have DSS paid off as well.
You recently sent this, all this to
Yes,
us, I remember that. The reason I was asking the date on the 2023, if we were going to set this, as a recommendation from you, if we were going to set this money aside and sort of earmark it,
Correct.
is what we're talking about, can we make this money, can we send that money in earlier, or will it save us any interest? I mean, if we're going to, we can't do that.
When we refinanced it, there was prepayment penalties, wasn't there?
Right. And in this balloon payment, that covers any sort of prepayment penalties. The prepayment penalties, the percent is based on what you have left to pay. So if you pay it off any earlier, then your prepayment penalty
Okay.
is greater,
So it would make any sense to do that? Okay, just check.
Right.
Okay?
And if, man, go ahead. You'll have to excuse me, I can blame it on COVID brain fog. When we talked about refinancing last year, those loans, next year, we're paying off something in full. So that's going to free up that payment for the next year. Is that as,
At the budget presentation, the way that I had went about it was I essentially balanced every department's budget as a single, but within, the whole general fund, and looked at our revenue sources. And where we thought we were freeing up general fund dollars we've got this loan we're paying off in '22, so that amount can just go towards this one. Well, we're using restricted sales tax money to pay for one loan. It's kind of, when you break it down by revenue source, all three loans are being paid from a different source of money, so you're not, that's why I was saying for DSS, that's coming out of general fund money. That the other two, you can use your restricted sales tax that either can be used for a school capital outlay, or if the county is paying off a debt for some type of school capital outlay. So that's the revenue stream that we're paying off for the school facilities. And then we've earmarked that Article 44 sales tax for the Central Middle School project.
and I know, we just watched a presentation from Barry and a lot of his central office staff. One of the things that Johnny mentioned was capital outlay, and I like seeing that there's $96,000 in possible capital outlay for school capital outlay.
The 96 that's here, that is the
That's
revenue
already-
stream
that's already
that we're
right.
using
It could
for,
be-
right, for the capital outlay, to pay for the debt for the school facilities. Essentially, we could be paying for the Central Middle School project with that same revenue stream when the one for the other school facilities is paid off. So,
The only question I have is concerning, we do have some unfunded liabilities that we need to start putting some money aside for.
yes, the OPEB, which is the, for retirees when we pay their insurance benefit, currently, when I looked at this year's expenditure, we don't put any money to the side, we just budget for it and we just pay it as we go. For this year, that cost was over $76,000. So either you're just going to have to continue to pay as you go, or would be smart to start conservatively putting some money, to the side.
Like a trust fund.
Right, but I would not recommend doing the trust fund. In the event that a future board or this board decides you don't want to fund this benefit for retirees, if you put money into a set trust fund, I don't know that you can get it back out. So if you overfund it, there's money that we might not be able to get back, versus just putting it in a separate checking account and funding it that way and then pulling it as you need it along the way. We also, another unfunded area when you're thinking about our staff here, we're working on a 2017 salary scale versus, we're in 2021, and staff with cost of living adjustments, those things are also unfunded for our county. Those are some things to consider as well when we're moving into fiscal year '22.
Well, we look forward to seeing the budget presentation from the county manager. I can't wait. Bated breath. Thank you, Kim.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair, I would
Yeah.
like to ask him to do one thing for us.
Okay.
And I think it'll be real easy, probably one phone call. When we're talking about unfunded liabilities, there are restrictions, interest is not in our favor,
Correct.
and there are numerous restrictions. But it might be helpful to us if we found out where we could invest the money, and maybe currently, what is a return? I know you're going to come back with a small number, But we need to know that, I think. We need to know fresh information.
In the the cash information, the report that I've given you guys, if you look in the section for the capital management, because we are very restricted to where we can invest our money as a county, through the capital managements where we have our investments, we are earning very, very little. I mean,
I was curious, and what I was curious about with my question is, if it was designated as unfunded liabilities, would there be a broader, because it's a longer range, would there be another opportunity that we're not already looking at?
are you referring to our OPEB or just any kind of unfunded?
No, we're really referring to the pot of money that doesn't exist at the present time, that we're thinking about trying to make it exist. You know, we may start out, $20,000 the first time, and we may have to do $20,000 a year for a few years until we can bump it up some. But I was just curious if it was that nature, knowing that it's for future liabilities,
Right.
if there was an option that we haven't seen.
And if you have any questions, I had discussed this with Tim Lyons, with our audit team, before I made the recommendation at the budget presentation. So I think he's just gonna call in at the next meeting. If you have any questions about this, he would be a great resource while you have him on the phone, because he's the one who kind of went through, these are the different options, this is what it means if you put it in a trust. If you put it in a trust, you won't necessarily see that big number that the actuaries have put in our audit go down, versus if you have it as a committed item in your fund balance, the board would pass a resolution saying this is what this money is committed for.
Separate account number.
Right, and it would be committed, but then if some unforeseen economic event other than COVID happens, you can always pass another resolution. For example, if you decide to no longer fund this benefit for employees, that gives you that option versus once it's in a trust fund, it's there. You cannot
Right.
get that money back if you overfund it for the
Okay.
future.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the interest ain't paying much right now,
Yeah, well aware of that.
from my understanding.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
All right, thank you, Kim.
thank you.
Looking forward to the budget presentation. Other departmental reports, you're in your packet. I don't see anyone here that's going to present. County manager,
I will present customer service. I see no other department head here.
okay? Moving right, go ahead.
Okay, customer service monthly report for February activity. After the Board of Commissioners review of customer complaints at the January meeting, late fee charges resumed in February. On February 17th, late fees, 10%, were charged to 953 customers. Robocalls were sent to 639 delinquent customers on February 17th. Due to bills being calculated on February 25th and mailed on 26th, there were no service fees charged or disconnects in February. The collection window is still closed for walk-in payments. Signage is in place directing customers to place their payments in the drop box. Staff continues to assist customers when needed at the collections door. No customer is denied service.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if it was just my packet, but I was missing a couple of departmental reports. I don't know if it was everybody or just mine. I'm missing them, okay.
Okay. Any other questions about, excuse me, any other questions about any of the reports we have in our packet? And we'll try to track down Commissioner Jones' packet. Make sure you get
You
it.
said we were all missing them, right? Okay, I thought that's what you were meaning.
Madam Chairman, no questions about that, but we did have an inquiry by North Carolina Department of Transportation as pertaining to Gates County picking up fees, that they would be picking up trash for the next 2 weeks, I believe, maybe a little bit longer. in Gates County, but they want to be funded by Gates County for the amount of trash. And Madam County Manager and I checked into that. They had called and spoke with someone who denied their request, but we reinstated that.
And that's on new business, letter B is
I
gonna
was going to say,
come up.
that's on the roadside beautification and road improvements. That's going to be Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Owens. So we'll,
This is pertaining to trash pickup. In
Yes,
other words,
sir.
they'll be driving their trucks and they'll be using their personnel to pick it up.
okay. We'll get to it.
Okay, and I guess it comes out in articles of interest or county calendar. Jim's is having a food drive on Saturday morning, 10 to 12 at the medical center. Please spread the word in your communities. Also, the landfill and transfer station at Belvedere will be closed on Friday, April the 2nd, for Good Friday. It closes at 12 on that day, and the convenience sites will be closed on Easter Sunday.
Okay. County calendar, any input about that? We have the, I don't see that either, but anyway. All right. Which one is that?
We want to-
Veteran Services.
I didn't know if we wanted to talk about that. I didn't know where it was,
I had
where it fell under or something.
I have requested that, since we are in a budget development, all allocations of funding that come out of, that's approved by the county, they're supposed to have a report by March 31st. They are. Am I right? And so I have said, we need to see those reports, because we are allocating them dollars. I think the veteran service officer gets over $8,000, or that office. Not saying anything's wrong, it's just that when we allocate money such as COA, gets $6,000 a year. Veterans Service Officer receives certain funds, the housing committees receive certain funds, and others. We just need to know an update.
Gotcha, I didn't see it, I didn't know, that's why I was.
Yeah, that's why it's in there. If they have it to the end of March, March 31st, I read it somewhere, and I asked the county clerk, I said, well, who are these people? Because I'm learning.
Right,
But
I didn't know that position either.
Yeah. If we're allocating funding out of our budget, and it's in our budget, then the county commissioners need to know updates. Not saying you're not doing anything, but we want to know, what's the update for a year? What are you doing? You know? But it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money, you know, when you allocate dollars, so.
Should we read to the public what the position is and when they're in Gates County so they know?
Well,
Because I didn't know. I think they're in Board of Elections office, maybe. That's what
County
I
clerk.
seen. I've seen that, okay, when you're going on the left, okay.
see, that's another thing I didn't know. I asked who it was. I found out his name is Chad Stevenson. Oh, I got a lot of information. And I got information from other people or entities that receive funding. And what I said was, when I read it, that they were supposed to report by March 31st, I said, well, we need to have a report. Like Mr. Graham Trine, I think he's the one that sits on the COA board. We need, County Commissioner, an update. Because we do allocate funds to COA, and we're going to continue. I'm not saying we're going to stop. I just need to know, as a chair and as a Board of Commissioners, when the taxpayers' money is being spent for these entities, these boards or committees, they have an accounting, so that's what I'm doing. So what I will do is, I'm still waiting for the rest of them to come in, is at the April meeting, is to have like a packet, when everybody, you know, like this one right here, he sent his in. And when I saw, oh, he got his in early, because it's not due to March 31st. So when the rest of them come in, we have them all, I hope, and we sit here as a board and say, oh, this is what they've been doing for a year. And I appreciate Mr. Stevenson, I believe. I've never met him. I don't know where he meets, but he's getting allocated funding, so we need to have updates, not only from him, but all the other committees and entities that we have money for. So you'll hear more about that as they come in, so that's where that came from. Hearing nothing from the county calendar, we don't have any public hearings. Now, I believe we're going to have a discussion on 2017 ESFR-LP-DR applicant concerns. I think Commissioner Jones is leading that discussion. That's a CDBG grant.
Do we want to bring
Is he here?
Cliff? You want to come up to the podium? Take your time, we'll wait for you.
Welcome, Mr. Walton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, after the last meeting, Cliff and I talked, and I visited Cliff's house and sent some of the pictures to y'all. We very detailed walkthrough and different things, and Cliff has a number of concerns about the grant and timing, and last month was about a different Walton. This month is about him. So I would like for him to address the board, if it's okay, Madam Chair, with some of the concerns, a brief synopsis of what's been going on over the last couple of years.
Okay.
Well, for one thing, they were supposed to been there, come back to address the issues that hadn't been fixed. And that was since, it's been since 19. And to this day, they haven't came back. They have worked on it, started on it on 2018 of my house. The drainage, the kitchen drainage, the drainage for the water that's sitting up under the house that's causing my floors and all to warp. The gaps and the type of material that they use for the porch and everything is it's not quality work. It's not quality material. And for the money that I had to sign for, I feel like I just got dealt a bad deal. I would like for someone maybe to come out to see or check my paperwork and all, because all I got from them was promises. I'll be back. And then COVID come out, and then they had excuse for that they didn't come, why they didn't come. But they didn't come before the COVID. And when you called, they didn't respond back. And I've called consecutive. Mr. Barnett said he wants me to, he's waiting on me to sign another paper to get some more money. I don't see no reason why I should sign for more money when the money that I have signed for, you haven't did what you're supposed to do then. And they haven't came back to fix the things, the issues and stuff that's been going on. And that's what he has said in the other meeting, that he was waiting for me to sign the paper. And I can't see signing it. And the work and everything that they did, it just don't add up to the money that was spent. And I would like for something to be done about it. I've, like Jonathan said, Mr. Jones said, he came out there and he looked at it. And I think I have a legit case about it.
Mr. Jones?
Didn't you say, and I might be off one number, Cliff, the last time they wanted to do $7,000 more on the next?
$7,000. $7,000 more dollars. They had asked me to sign for, I think it was about $6,000 more than the last time. And for all the issues that we had talked about, they hadn't covered that from the first time that we signed for the grant. The 40-some thousand, they didn't do what they were supposed to do with that. And then I signed for more money, in which they come there with some paper for Gus to sign. And they said that they were going to do
the drainage and the underpinning and all in there. They saying that they got to have more money. And that's the reason why I haven't signed the paper, because I'm not going no further. I talked to a lawyer about it, and he told me don't sign nothing, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I would like for y'all to maybe take a look at it, if you will, for me, please.
So what you're saying is you signed for $6,000 first?
I signed
Additional?
for 40, yes, ma'am.
That's not inclusive of the 42?
No, ma'am.
So you signed a paper? Do you have copies of that?
I have copies of everything.
Okay.
So you did, the 40,000 was for the original renovations.
43, I think, 43, 45, somewhere along there. I have to look
Were
at the
those,
paper.
were those grant dollars or those
Grants.
loan dollars?
That's the grants, I think.
Grants.
That's the CDBG.
Right, okay.
Madam Chairman, Mr. Walton, I've been out there and looked at that. Is the boarding on that, has that been put up recently?
The who?
By that, I mean within 3 or 4 months.
The who?
The boarding, the siding,
Yes, that was put up on about a year ago.
has it been that long? Okay.
Yes, it's about a year.
There hasn't been anything done in a long time, has there, Cliff?
No, it's been about 2 years.
Let's say the crew from Chinquapin or somewhere that way
Yes, over
was the
there,
last ones I think we talked
over
about.
there in Greensville, over there in Fairview, Fairfax, or something like that, Greensville. That's where they're from.
And what is the name of this contractor?
That's Mr. Barnett.
But I know that who is the contractor?
That's Mr. Holloman.
Holloman? Do you know where he's from?
Like he
I
said.
think it was Chinquapin, Cliff and I have talked about before, because they left a trailer there for a while or
That's right.
something, and
That's correct.
I know we've had trouble with one before. Remember with the, I forgot what house it was, and we said we would never have them
Open
again.
your
Or
mic.
we would never have them again. Different.
And, I mean, you know, like I said, I walked through it, and I know one of Cliff's biggest concerns was the, and I'm not a GC, but the flooring.
Floor.
The,
yeah. You can walk and they'll just flop. And that was part of the main issue when we got this here loan. And the flooring. And then he got some that's jacked up, and the other part is lower. You know,
Well, we have,
the-
I have two concerns, and I think they go down this table, up and down this table, is that you haven't received what you were told you were going to receive. And then the second concern is they're grant dollars. They come from somewhere, and wherever those grant dollars came from, they need to be spent wisely. And that means build this and build it properly, build it well so that it lasts. And it sounds like you haven't been treated right, and the workmanship quality has been very unsatisfactory.
yes, sir. And like the front porch, it looks nice, but it's pine. I mean, well, pine. Pine would be good, but it's got to be treated, and
It won't last long.
quality material. They got knots and they board, the 2x4 is starting to warp. And you get gaps all in the, I don't know what the regulation and all for it, but if you can stand right here and look down there and see the ground, I don't think that's it, the regulation for it, as far as the spacing for the floor. And all of them, it's not like that we sat there and waited 2 or 3 years later and wants to complain about it. We've been complaining about it from day one. And far as the weatherization, Mr. Barnes, I have called him a number of times over there in Edenton. And the setup that they have, you get the unit, and it can't, the heat don't curve around and go into a room.
And
Tell them,
Jonathan,
I was gonna say,
he's been there,
tell them, explain to them the air system clip. I was gonna get you to explain that to them, how they've got it supposedly to work.
Like if I'm in my living room and sitting in my room, and there the heat coming out from up here where the light is, the unit is blowing out here, but then there's my bedroom right there, like where y'all coming out from. The heat is not gonna circle and go around into that room.
You don't have
Or
any
even-
additional vents?
They don't put no vents in. They
It
didn't
was
put
a
no vents in.
wall unit, I forget what they call
They
them,
call,
and the mini split, but,
Mini splits.
but they put these doors in, well, the doors are in
Yeah.
with some vents, but the
Vents.
doors,
They
they're
cut
hollow.
They took and cut my doors, and they put vents in them. And they said that the way it's supposed to work is you close the door, and the heat is supposed to come through the vents of the door. And in the
not forced
bathroom, if you close the bathroom door, then you're not gonna get no heat, nor you're not gonna get no air because there's not no vents in there. And if there's a person that's in there and then during the wintertime, then you'll be cold. Or if a person in there during the summertime, then you'll be hot. I mean, because there's no vents there. And in the bedroom, there's no vents to go through the door. If you have someone to come in there and to dress or company come over, then what are they supposed to do? Or they go to sleep. There's no vents. And I talked to Jesse, I can't call his last name right now, but he said this system was not set up correctly. And he said he'll be more than glad to talk to y'all about it if you had to. And he's a mini split specialist. He do it, and he said, and I have his number and everything in my phone. And he said the system was just simply not correct. It should have been vents, or in the top, or either vents coming up from the bottom. And ever since I had this system in there, I have had problems at it from day one. And now I owe George and Company, I owe them from day one, after the warranty is off. Now I have a bill from them that they threatened to carry me to court. And I have Jesse and them that came out and all from them. I have a bill also from them. And nobody wants to come out unless I pay them. And I'm talking about $1,000 or more that I got to pay them out of my pocket now. And I don't feel like it's right because it haven't been right from day one. George and Company have a record if you want to check them and see how many times they have been out there since they put that system in. And they done put a new computer board and everything in there since it's been out there, no longer than I had it.
Linda,
Madam Chairman, if I may ask Mr. Walton, how are those funds handled? Are any of them funneled to you, or is it all handled externally from the company? Mr. Barnett, has he been out to the property to look at
I have talked to Mr. Barnett personally.
Has he come to your property?
He have came out there, I think it was, for as far as the work, to do the work there. It was last, 2019, as far as for that. And they supposed to have been coming back as Mr. Holloman. I haven't seen him back, I don't think, since 2018.
I think what
contractor.
Ray might be saying is, was there any checks and balances before the funds were released? You know, like the guys from Chinquapin came in and did the money. Did somebody come in and check the work before they got paid? You don't know that, do you? Because
No.
you didn't have your hands in the money.
No, I didn't have nothing to do with the money. And as far as the inspector come, he walked in and walked out. I haven't seen him go up under nothing. I didn't see him bring nothing to check anything. He came in with Mr. Holland, and they chatted, and they walked back out the house.
So you don't know that there was ever an inspection of the work that was done?
No, ma'am, it weren't no inspection. As far as what they done, no one went on top of the roof, no one went under the house, no one checked the lighting fixture, because I got a light in my bathroom that's just like a disco light. It just sit there and just blink. One side of it have two bulbs, and one side just blinks and blinks and blinks. And then I got an outlet that sits and hums all the time.
or part of the time. Sometime it'll hum and sometime it won't. And I have brought all this up to them and have nothing been done.
And Linda, I saw your face.
Jonathan, there, you seen it, Blake.
Yeah. Linda, I saw your face when he was talking about the heat and air stuff. And again, I'm not a contractor, but I was dumbfounded when Cliff was walking me through, and it was just, you know.
It doesn't make sense.
It don't. It really don't. And I'm not trying, I know that we asked for the money and all, and we're not as fortunate as some of you others. But I would like for what I asked or what I signed for, I would like for it to be used in the way of what it was intended to be used.
Yes, sir.
And it's not only me. There's other ones that, and I can't speak for them, but they will say, they will speak for themselves about they felt like they've been dealt a dirty hand too, and all about theirs also. The doors that they put up and all theirs, I showed Jonathan, it's just like paper. And all where they cut and put the vents inside of, they just as cheap as on a what. And the ones that came and did the work, well, they were some drunks. Mm-hmm. And we called Mr. Barnett and told him that, and he got in an argument, me and him and my wife. And if she was here and still living, she would tell you that too.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here listening, and you've given a very vivid and thorough recollection of what happened. I'm just going to be honest, I don't understand the process. I see these loans we have, I think we have 3 open housing grants right now, 3 of them, and there seem to be issues with all 3. This is one of the repairs, not replacement.
That's right.
I'm looking for some guidance from the commissioners as far, and the county manager, as far as what do we do. But we thank you for coming, and you've given a vivid summary of what, I got a visual, as well as the pictures and everything from Commissioner Jones. But as far as those grants, the county commissioners and the county managers are going to have to address it.
Right.
Now, we may not address it tonight because I think we need to stand down, stand back, and do some more research. Figure out these grant funds, why people are paying more after they've gotten the grant, have to sign more. Why aren't there inspections? Because I think you're supposed to inspect what you remodel. It sounds like
checks and balances.
Yeah, and so I don't hear their inspection. That I didn't hear it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying that after this conversation, there's some more work needs to be done, some more research needs to be done, see what happened with these grant funds. Grant funds, you got to be mindful of how you spend grant funds, and these are grant funds. We have 3 open grants. So we need to find out some history, some paper trails, what should have been happening, what didn't happen. And I'm of the mind, always, if you don't document it, it didn't happen. So it sounds like you have documentation of some sort. We have current pictures of some sort. So we need to, as commissioners, and I'm leaning on the commissioners, as far as stand down, do some research, get the package together as far as what happened, and where are we, and how we go forward. There's no need to find, it's less efficient to figure out but what do we do? There has to be a remedy in there somewhere as far as not following the grant criteria. And it should have been steps, time frame step. You do this, you do that, you do that. My concern right now is inspection. I'm concerned about the whole, scenario, but what happened with inspection, and what's the timing of the complaints that you filed or voiced, and what happens now? We have to do something. I don't know what that something is.
Right. I think it would be good. I know Melissa, after last meeting, I think had a chat with one of our speakers afterwards. I know Cliff's got a folder of stuff, and Cliff didn't just start fussing about this in the last month.
No.
I mean, I've known Nate Chickapee, and I've known about that for a few months, I believe. I think it'd be good for Cliff to sit down with our clerk, bring that folder that Miss Ann kept, and let her go through it, as you said, Madam Chair, make copies of some of that, the documentation, see the paper trail from Cliff and Ann's side, and get that to us. So we can see more of the big, I think it's like you said, Ray, at the last meeting, where's that money being hit, who's holding the money last time?
And plus that inspection report.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, the Board of Commissioners we're directing that the documentation from Mr. Walton be copied and submitted to the county manager, so we can start looking at the timeline. We need to give Mr. Barnett an opportunity, once we get those documents, an opportunity to address those documents and those timelines and see what his response will be from his company. And we'll go from there. And that should be done before our next meeting, so that we can get on this and see if we can get some kind of resolution moving forward. But we need to find out what happened with documentation. I'm a documentation person. If you don't write it down, if it's not documented, it didn't happen, because then you get into he said, and all this. We don't need that. So whatever documentation you have, you need to gather it and share it with us. Commissioner Jones, the pictures that you took needs to be in that packet, because they're recent. And County Manager, I think that needs to be done sooner than later, as far as starting the process of looking what happened. I don't know what's going on with these grants.
But we need Cliff to schedule a time with
Oh, yeah.
Melissa or Diane,
We gotta have it now.
And bring the folder in that you showed me that day.
Just a folder, any piece of paper you have, receipts, documentation, agreements, even the original, whatever you have, if you had bills with these contractors, subcontractors, whatever you have, you say you owe money. We need all of that, so we have a comprehensive documentation.
Including, Cliff, you said there were a number of times that somebody else came out there. We need to know
We need
how
to
many
know all of
trips.
it.
Yeah, we need to know dates and trips and, yeah, phone number, contacts for those people.
Like I said, I do the best I can to do that. I got, my wife was, God knows.
Miss Ann kept good stuff. Thank goodness for Miss Ann.
Yeah, and that's the truth. That's
We
really
know
the
what
truth.
women do.
We thank you for coming.
We know what women do.
I really thank her for that.
Well, we thank you for coming and drawing our attention to that, and thank you, Commissioner Jones, for staying on top of it. But we'll go on to see what your documentation shows us and where it leads us. We'll go where it leads us. Let's put it that way. We'll go where the documentation leads us, but we need to give McDavid opportunity to share their documentation and their recognition and documentation of what they did, so we can see what matches. In the meantime, we are going to be very diligent in looking at that grant. You need to look at that grant and see who's supposed to be doing what.
Administrator.
That's right. You need to look at the grant, pull the grant, and just take a look at it with a keen eye. It's not going to take, it's going to take a minute now, so don't think we're going to do it next week, but we're going to do our due diligence.
It's not
and
going
make
to take
sure-
3 years either.
No, it's not going to take 3 years. It's not going to take 3 years, but we need to get on it so that we can start looking through it. And the county manager will alert us if she needs anything else or work with Mr. Walton and Mr. Barnett. And if we can support you in any way, just let us know. Okay?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank y'all.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment from the last meeting on a similar topic. Last meeting, we directed the county manager to send a letter, to send it out right away.
We did.
And just for the public's benefit, some of these parties that we're talking about right now were watching.
They were.
They were watching our video, and they called the next day and talked with the county manager. So we did delay sending our letter a little bit because they wanted to defend themselves based on what they saw on the video. So the county manager gave them that opportunity, and I think the county manager called me about it. And so we waited a few days. We still sent the letter. And we have had a response. It's not for this format right here, because we are still researching the response they gave us. So we want you to know the letter was sent. We have had a response from them, and we're drilling down on that as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're going to stay on this because that's grant money. We have 3 open grants, and it may challenge or frustrate us if we apply for another grant because we have 3 open, not closed. And so we need to remedy that. So if there are other opportunities for grant money, and I believe we have submitted another one, Ms. Rebecca Green Hollis submitted 2021, trying to get more repair dollars for the county because we have a number of citizens that need repairs to their homes. So we're trying to do what we can. We can't spend taxpayer money, but we can't apply for grants. So we need to make sure we do our due diligence in following the grant criteria so we can continue to score well and get those grants. So thank you for that. Historic Courthouse lease agreement.
Yes, I believe you have one on your table in front of you that's not the one that's in your binder. It's the final one that has been approved by the Historical Society, and the mayor has also looked over it. And I think we have come to an agreement. There were a few changes made. For one thing, the address was not even correct. We corrected that. But my concerns were on the second page, number 4, for insurance. There was nothing in there saying the Historical Society was going to maintain insurance for their artifacts or for their possessions. So that was included. The Historical Society will be responsible to maintain insurance on all artifacts and properties belonging to and owned by the Historical Society. Further down on page 2, under maintenance, they wanted to use a room also to store items, because downstairs, the Gatlin Room, which is the library, upstairs, we have the Veterans Room and the Thad Ewing Museum. They will be opened up as full museums, so they have no room for storage, other than the closet behind the judge's podium. So there was an agreement. They did not realize that the Board of Commissioners was using the northwest corner for closed sessions, as you did tonight. So we agreed upon the room next to that, which can be locked and secured for their items, and they were very amicable for that. That was added in there to use the north side of the top floor. And let me see, I think they're the final items that we added, and everyone seems to be in agreement.
That said, if there are no questions, do we have questions from any of the commissioners? Then I need a motion to approve the lease agreement with amendments.
I make a motion to approve the agreement.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
New business, road
Madam-
improvement?
Madam Chair, before we go into new business, can we take a brief recess?
Sure can. 3 minutes.
Brian, you got nowhere to go, right?
Meeting is back in session. We're moving to new business, road improvements, discussion.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes, you may.
All right, everybody should have 3 letters on your desk. Gotta love technology when it works. I was approached by one of my constituents about their road condition. And the road in question is Dowdy Lane in York. And he brought it to my attention that it's not paved, and the residents of that road are requesting that we reach out to the DOT. Well, they want the road paved. Talked to Mike Van, the local DOT rep, and he said that goes before the district engineer, David Ott. And based upon some recommendations, what you have before you is a letter from the Director of Transportation from the school system, a letter from Kelly Yor, a resident of Dowdy Lane, as well as the principal of Central Middle School, and a letter from Ray Felton, who is a property owner as well. There's also Tommy Dowdy, who most of you know, is getting together a petition signed by all the residents on that road, the owners. He was hoping to have it before me tonight to show everyone, but his mother's been sick, so he's a little bit behind. He's hoping to have it by Friday. What I would like for the commissioners to do is to task the county manager to send a letter to David Ott, along with the petition from the property owners, as well as these 3 letters, asking for the DOT to look into the possibility of paving Dowdy Lane for the residents.
Okay.
And it wouldn't, no cost, of course,
Right.
no cost to the county, but I think, and I think Kelly, Yor told me, I think there's 4 school buses to go down it, and every time it rains, and Ray Felton's letter might have mentioned that, they keep having to fix it every time. So, and Mike Van is aware of it. He knows when the day I called him, his guys had been there that morning or the day before fixing it. So,
Motion, sir?
if it needs.
I was going to say,
Okay,
put that in form of a motion.
I would make a motion, Madam Chair, that we task the county manager with sending a letter to David Ott with the local, I think Edenton office district engineer, that the county would like to see Dowdy Lane paved, as well as including the supporting documentation from the residents.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Been motion and second. All approve? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So the county manager will prepare that draft and look at the minutes to make sure we got everything in there. Show it to Commissioner Jones before it goes off.
I will let him review it.
Okay.
I'll watch the video and remember what I said.
Okay.
Jonathan, after I got your email about it, I wrote down there and looked at it myself. And I think I mapped it at 0.6 of a mile, I think.
It's a lot longer than I thought it was. I didn't realize it was houses down back at the end of it.
Okay. Next on the agenda is roadside beautification. That's a discussion also with Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Owens.
Yes, ma'am, Madam. I'll start, Jack. It's okay. I was approached by actually a couple of citizens, and I think that the topic might have been talked about or in commissioner comments or something at our previous meetings about the trash on the side of the roads, how it's gotten worse, and I think it's gotten worse through COVID. But I do know, and I'll give a little history, the DOT has started cleaning the roadsides. I don't know if y'all have seen that in the news. Our local guys are cleaning the first week of every month until July is the plan right now. They have already cleaned, they have cleaned 158 from Tar Heel to Roduca and 37 from Highway 13 to Gates. So they've hit the major roads. Everybody's seen the ditches in the county. Doing some research, there's 52 adopted highway teams in Gates County. did not realize that, but only 2 of them report their trash amount. And that's when I was gonna bring up, the email we got, from Mike Van to the county manager, because that sort of falls in line with what they've started doing. Do you want to, if it's okay, talk about what Ray was talking about earlier about their trash pickup and stuff?
Okay. DOT, out of the generosity of their hearts, goes by when there is one of the teams out collecting trash and will take it to the landfill. And it's either they take it to the convenience sites, which fills up the convenience sites, which we're gonna pay for that in hauling one way or the other, or out of the generosity of DOT, they take it straight to the landfill. But then there's the fee there. So in the past, I guess there was confusion over whether we should or should not pay for it. But I thought since DOT is providing manpower, their vehicles, that the least the county could do was pay for it at the landfill per truck fee.
This is not the Adopt the Highway, though.
No, this is not Adopt the
Because
Highway.
I know, I just did Adopt the Highway 2 weeks ago in our
Right.
community. And we get the bags from DOT.
Right.
And we have a central, they tell us where to lump them.
Right.
And
And
they
then-
come by and take them.
And they pick them up,
And
their
take 'em.
manpower, their vehicles, and they take them to the landfill. But the landfill is going to charge a fee per truckload. And so-
But it's saving us the transfer fee.
Exactly. So we're gonna pay for it at the landfill per truck versus the transfer fee.
And it's gone up because of what their new initiative is across the state. I do know that James Harrison is the roadside environmental, he's with the roadside environmental department, which handles that part of it. That stuff, I do, and I did read while doing some research, I know Commissioner Owens and Melissa had looked into it last year, pre-COVID. I found out that Representative John Bell filed the Highway Cleanup Act mid-February to allocate funding to raise awareness and educate the public on existing anti-litter campaigns. I talked to Jack, Commissioner Owens, I know that they had done some homework. What I would like to see, and one of the citizens, and I don't have it written down, I think it's around April 22nd, Earth Day is in April, and there's a big campaign from April 10th through the 24th to promote roadside cleanup. I would like to see us promote that, and I forward something to Melissa. There's a lot of counties that have started, or not counties, but groups in other areas that have groups on social media that will do roadside cleanups, will come together. If Jack was to say in somewhere in Gatesville, or if Althea was to say, one road in her area really needed it, they would come together one afternoon or one Saturday, a group of them, and work together to clean it up. There's a lot of trash that we've got. I would really like to see, and sort of piggyback off of what Jack and Melissa worked on, to set aside a Saturday in April that we promote a big countywide cleanup day. And I know that something, I don't know if you want to talk about some of the ideas that you had, and I'll shut up for a minute while you do that.
So when Jonathan, he called me knowing that we had worked on something pre-COVID and wanted to touch base with me on that. And so I threw this scenario to Jonathan. I said that my thought is these 52 organizations that adopt these highways, they have a tendency, because I've been a part of one, and it faded. It started out with quite a few people and it ended up with me and 2 other gentlemen. And it faded and it died. It went away. I think that commitment thing, that long-term commitment, when you put that sign up in your neighborhood, I think scares some people away.
There's some, but not all. I know the Suburban Religion Club does Sunbury 4 times
Right.
a year.
But anyway, my theory on this is that let those 52 organizations continue to do what they're doing. But I told Jonathan, why don't we promote it like he's talking about, and we tell these groups, take your bags that you collect and bring them to the community center. Say we start cleaning up at 9 to 12 or 12:30. Bring your bags to the community center and enjoy hot dogs and hamburgers there. So you have, what you're doing is, the group can have their commitment as heavy as they want to. On their road, they can combine with somebody else. If we promote it strong enough, maybe some of the civic organizations, churches, youth groups, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever, we could have a big cleanup day, and we could celebrate it. I know I'll donate some money for the hot dogs and hamburgers. I'm sure there'll be some other people that would do that. But we come together. We come together at the end, and we all see the results. And if we can get some good pictures there and get some good publicity from that, then the next time we do it, and hopefully not too far down the road, we can clean up our county, and people can take ownership of a project without, I mean, they can come out in April. They say, well, I can't come out in May, and I can't come out in July, and I can't come out in August, but they participated without the burden of that commitment. So that's what I pitched to Jonathan.
And it's before it gets a little warm too.
Yep. Snakes.
Before snakes come out. Jack did mention that. So I don't have a plan in place. I wanted to bring, like I said, I've had a number of citizens, and we've heard it as all, but talking to Jack and skimming through the packet that he gave me tonight, I would like to set aside a Saturday in April and have a community-wide cleanup. I don't mind heading it up, just need I don't even know if I need the pleasure of the board, but it'd be good if the commissioners supported that we have clean roadways. I don't know, I've just been asked by some citizens and did a little bit of homework on it. And I know the chair's gonna tell me something in a minute, because I see that look.
You know my eyes, don't
I
you?
sure do.
Means you're gonna go to work.
Just don't put me and Jack on it together.
I agree with everything that both of you have said, Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Owens. We do need a plan. We do need a date. You said you have 52, what do you call them?
52 teams.
Teams. Maybe we should figure out, I know it's listed somewhere, contact somebody from each one of them and encourage them, but first you have to get a plan. I think the commissioners would support such an endeavor. Get us out the house. I don't pick up trash, but I come eat a hot dog.
So you cook a hot dog?
No, I said come eat a hot dog. I don't
Just
cook
wanna
either.
clarify that,
I don't
Madam Chair.
cook either. But I'm a takeout kind of woman. But that's a good idea, but we need a plan. We need a very strategic plan, who does what. And I think we should start with some type of resolution of that day. As a countywide, whatever, you work with the county manager on that, get it in the paper, get it on the website, start promoting it. Maybe some flyers, I don't know. But you got to promote it so people know what we're doing and get buy-in from those 52 entities and others that don't just moved in the county. I don't know, maybe churches, get them involved. All the civic entities that we have in the county, the businesses. But we got to have a county, if you say countywide, it must be countywide. And county manager, follow Commissioner Jones' lead. He's leading it. And we'll follow along. Do we need a motion? What do we need?
Well, and I threw out April because that was one of the dates that
Yeah,
one of the
Earth
school
Day.
teachers,
Mhm.
Earth Day
Earth
was
Day.
and I forget that, I think it's the 21st or 20th. That's why I had, trying to do it April 24th, because I don't think there was soccer games at the community center that morning. That's why I just had that date in mind, I think.
Well, look at Earth Day and see what exact date that is, and we could work around that date or something close to it as far as, because it is Earth Day, so let's clean the earth.
I also like to mention, gyms is generally the third week, and that takes a lot of volunteers that would maybe.
Just have a plan and
Yeah.
take all of that into consideration. How do we get the citizen engaged and
And I
don't
think we've
butt up
done
against
this
another
one
one?
time before.
Madam Chair, this is March. I think we should give Commissioner Jones our blessing and let him run with it and not have to discuss it at another meeting, just get it done.
That's his plan.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the motion I want.
Yeah, just
Well,
get it
but the
done.
one thing, and I'm going to ask Ray, I haven't asked him yet, but the one thing that concerns me is safety. So that's why I would like for Ray to help me, whether he agrees to or not. But the one thing I like to think big, and I think about people on the side of the road, and looking at the packet of what Jack gave me tonight, thinking about the volunteer firemen setting up on the road with flashing lights, just, safety. So a lot of
Well, I think about the
stuff in there.
liability of it all. As
That's
far as
right.
those, I've seen people with those reflective vests or
And
something.
that's what that,
So it's a
James
lot to
Harrison.
it. You just can't run up in the morning and say, I'm going to pick up trash.
That's
I
right.
will tell you that in this packet,
Madam Chairman, I'd be
all those
delighted-
vests have already been purchased.
Madam Chairman, I would be delighted to work with Commissioner
Yeah, I
Jones
have a
on
vest.
that.
Okay.
In
that's-
fact, rather than, as Commissioner Owens mentioned, what if we could do a resolution
That's what I just asked for.
and,
Yeah,
and
just a
that we
designate.
join with Department of Transportation, North Carolina DOT in their cleanup efforts.
It might be a resolution.
On that note, Commissioner.
Probably have one.
Just and
I just,
designate a day.
I just thought you were gonna say a plan by tomorrow, Jack.
for cleanup.
You already have a resolution that we can update?
Is it in this
I
packet?
believe, Melissa, did you send this one out from another county?
Well, we can look in the files and get one and update.
Yeah.
Do it on the 24th, which is right after our meeting.
Okay.
We could pass the resolution
Okay.
the week before, but as
That's
long as,
fine.
that way there'll be a plan in place.
But I think we should go on and get moving on this, Commissioner Jones. We don't need to meet again to get everything together. If it hasn't, like I said, if it hasn't been documented, it didn't happen. So, all right,
So we're good with it.
we're good with it. We're good with,
Okay.
just work with the county manager, make sure she knows what we're doing, and you and
And I'll put you down for a hot dog,
Got me down for a hot dog. I'll buy
Two-
you a pack of hot dogs.
2 hot dogs.
I'll buy you a truck of hot dogs.
Right.
Mhm. Please do,
Yeah, that is.
please do. No children.
Yeah, that's what the limit, I noticed that on the sheets.
The final thing, thank you for this new business. I think it made the agenda, the strategic plan. This was just a short discussion, just put it on the radar that we have not forgotten, or have not forgotten, that we need a strategic plan. And sometime this spring, we need to choose what we're going to do to get a strategic plan for the county. COA has put, it was in the newspaper last week, I think it's in there again this week, that they're working to update their strategic plan, and they're going to be asking the citizens of Gates County to participate. I participated 2 Fridays ago with the school board to get our input into their updating their strategic plan. The school systems of Gates County strategic plan ends June 30th. They will be looking at their strategic plan to take that for the next 3 to 5 years. So we need one for the county in a timely manner, probably this spring, this summer sometime, or this fall, so that we can make sure that we also incorporate what they have in their plan, as well as the state's plan. You saw in your packet that the 2021, 2022 goals are in there, and I had the clerk to put it on the website. It's on the website. On the front page at the bottom, you click on it, you can find that booklet that we have electronically, so the citizens can see what the goals are that we, as commissioners in all 100 counties, sent to the General Assembly. So to do that, then the county must have a strategic plan. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. No vote, no, just putting it out there, so the citizens will know that we are thinking very seriously, and we will be building a strategic plan for Gates County in the near future. Commissioner comments? Commissioner Jones?
I just got done talking for 30 minutes. Good gracious.
You on a roll.
Thank citizens for providing input. I know it was 3 items discussed tonight. Last 2 items I talked about in the water that we've heard, and you see we bring it to the table. See Brian out in the audience. Gates County Community Partnership's doing good work. Continue the work that you guys are doing. Appreciate that. It's making a difference in the kids' lives. And you're going to see me reaching out to you on something we just talked about a few minutes ago also. School system was interested in hearing their report tonight. It's going to be interesting to look at the numbers and look at the COVID funding that was provided and seeing where there are gaps or where money was used. COVID has slowed down in the county, thank goodness, knock on wood. Again, thanks to the ballpark, Easton's Crossroads Ballpark, for providing, helping with logistics and all community outreach folks and employees that have helped. Mr. Asbell mentioned it tonight. I've only heard good things about our clinics, and it looks like those clinics are going to be changing in the next couple of weeks. And I'm glad that we may be winding down from the high numbers. And I'm going to finally shut up for tonight, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Owens?
Okay. I see on my calendar here that March the 26th, the Hall Rorton Club is having a takeout-only plate. And I think you can get it at lunch or get it for dinner. It's $10. If you can, go out and support them. I know they will appreciate it. They do a lot of good things with those donation dollars. Thank you, citizens, for coming tonight and hearing what we have to say. Commissioner Hoffler and I are going to work real hard to bring you the presentation of the comprehensive water system review in the month of April. And we hope you'll come and watch the slides.
Commissioner Hoffler?
Yeah, thank you all for coming, or those of you who are viewing in. We have a lot of things to be thankful for, that the COVID seems to be dying down in the county, but we don't need to give up our due diligence. We still need to take safeguards. We need ideas concerning what we can do to make this county a better place for all citizens. I remind you that Jim's is giving the food drive is on Saturday at the old medical center. And, you know, beautification, certainly no one, it bothers all of us, I think, to see all the trash that is down the roadside. And with all the rain we've had, it has floated to the top. So it's, you know, anything we can do to beautify our county. But, you know, we all have to take responsibilities and do what we can to make this a better place. And if it's as simple as thing you can do is pick up trash in front of your own home. If everybody would do that, it would be a big help. So whatever we do, let's do it for the help all. And take care. That's all.
Commissioner Freeman?
Kind of rambled.
Thank you, ma'am. We look at the work that is done here for y'all, and this work causes a great deal of attention sometimes. Some of the issues become a little more explosive, and some just calls that attention. Our plan of action as your commissioners, and as we sit and as we listen and as we decide, the efforts are really in the service of this county. So keep that in mind when you do bring it to us, and that we share those facts, share the facts that we get with you. So thank you for attending. Amen.
Thank all of you for attending in person and those live streaming tonight. We always appreciate you taking time out of your busy evening to log in, and before you do that, you always send in comments or phone calls, and sometimes we've already taken care of it through the county staff. They're the operational leaders of the county. We are governance, and we're going to govern as best we can with the ordinances. Right now, we're looking at all our ordinances and zoning through our Director of Planning, Mr. Cherry, and the company that we hired last year. Hopefully, that'll be probably done this spring, I think, hopefully, if it keeps going the way it is. But we're looking at our ordinances, and we're going to be looking very carefully at going forward. Take care, stay safe. I thank everyone in the county, all the staff for volunteering doing COVID vaccinations and all the support we've gotten, not only from the ballpark, but all the other people that we don't even know behind the scenes that's been working. We appreciate it, especially the staff that's staying out there in the weather sometime and do what they do and come back to work. I pray that everyone's fine. We still keep Mr. Byron in our thoughts and prayers as he goes through, and anyone else that may be ill or suffering from whatever that we don't know about. We are concerned about the citizens of Gates County, and we thank you for your support. Now I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.